Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Hanna, Season 1, Episode 6. It is called Mother, or as I like to think of it, Martha. So, full spoilers for the episode.
That was terrible.
That was a quality joke.
It wasn't. It really wasn't. It was terrible.
That was a quality joke. So, yeah, we ended last episode. Hanna was out in the forest with Sophie, and she just had it on with Anton, and Marissa's in the country looking for her, and Eric was caught, basically. So this episode I thought was a lot more action packed, despite the fact that there was very little action in it. There was a little bit of action towards the end, but it was more action packed in the sense there was a lot of like high drama sort of scenes throughout. There was a lot of tension, that kind of thing,
especially after the first 15, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, well, even the love triangle sort of bit, I'm not going to say I liked it necessarily, but I will say it felt more naturally uncomfortable than just TV love triangle, if that makes sense.
Sure, I still find it kind of tedious. But I mean, even in like a good movie with a love triangle, I'll still find that mostly a tedious plot.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm not really arguing if it's tedious or not. I'm just there was a level of natural uncomfort which felt at least more natural to the situation. Like, I felt a little bit sorry for Sophie as she was trying to like make a move on Anton, and it was just not happening. And I was like, yeah, can't feel bad for her. Like, just a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know. It worked a little bit better. I was just waiting
for that to be over, which thankfully it didn't last too long. Kind of just got it over and just sorted relatively quickly.
It didn't last too long. She got angry at Hanna when they got back to the house, and she said some awful things to her. She got really mean, and I think this part of it actually kind of worked because it was like a really stark kind of, jolt of anger from her. And I bought the level of intensity she brought to it.
Cats causing shenanigans.
Yes. I think Garrus did something at the window. So. But I there was an intensity to it, and you felt really bad for Hanna, and she sort of leaves, but she runs into the little brother, and she finds out from the little brother that her mother, quote unquote, is there, and it's of course, Vigeler.
Marissa.
Yes, Marissa Vigeler.
Yeah, you look like you were hesitant. You could think of a name.
Well, no, it's because they called her Claire. I stumbled for a second. I was like, wait, no, the proper name.
Right. Okay.
Because she's saying her name's Claire and she's at her mother, and they're in the house, and Sophie's refusing to talk, despite the fact she's mad at Hanna. And Hanna kind of steals a little brother's phone. It sends her a message saying, "Hey, that woman is dangerous. Don't tell her anything, please." Saying H.
She's like, it's cool. I already didn't.
Yeah. So I think what I liked about it is that her like petty teen bullshit in the love triangle seemed like a big deal to her early in the episode, but the more it became aware that someone dangerous might be here, and the more that it became aware that something with Hannah's past is a lot more complicated than what we're hearing. Because as much as Sophie is just a typical teenage girl, she does kind of sense that Marissa's full of shit. Like, immediately, unlike her parents, she can kind of sense that there's something not right about her.
Yeah,
and that lends credence to these scenes, and it gives Hanna this kind of comrade, and it does the fake out where you think that she's texting back, and I mean I kind of guessed that it wasn't at that point.
I mean it was pretty clear after the very first text was her.
Yeah,
and then everything after that is like nope.
Yeah, so it's not a surprise when she sees Marissa, and Marissa kind of offers a deal, says, "Hey, come with me peacefully, no one will get hurt." Although there is a subtext to what she's saying here. She's saying you've put that family in danger, as if, hey, like something might happen to them if you don't come peacefully.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, you come with us, we'll take care of you because you're special, and nothing else will happen, and it'll be fine. We'll even go say goodbye. We'll go say goodbye as mother and daughter, and it'll be sweet, and they won't worry about you, and everything will appear normal."
Yeah.
And it's during this where the Sophie's friend is looking up what's on the document, and it's like, there's something fishy here about the location.
Yeah, it's some blacked out zone next to, what was it, Ukraine?
Yeah, it was Ukraine and then 2 other countries around it.
Yeah.
And she comes running back in, and she insists on seeing Hanna on her own for a bit, and she's like, "Hey, Hanna, if she's not really your mother, tell me, right? And I love that she never actually says like forget all the bullshit earlier, but it's just clearly implied. Clearly, that's redundant now. It doesn't matter, right? We're past this. Yeah. We're past this. This is more serious. What's going on? Tell me. And she doesn't. She refuses essentially, and leaves with Marissa, and they go to a hotel, and they kill some time. They're waiting for the bad guy. They're waiting for Sawyer to show up, who's been busy torturing Heller for in a freezer for a day or two.
yeah, it's getting pretty brutal in there.
Yeah. There is some wonky timeline stuff in this episode where like, because I'm assuming that they're not in the UK already, and there's a great moment later where Eric shows up to kind of help Hanna out, and it's a really great scene in the elevator. I thought, because it reminded me of, not in like the exact same context, but you remember from Winter Soldier the scene in the elevator,
sure, yeah,
right, where everyone keeps getting in the lift. It kind of reminded me of that in a weird way, where they get in the elevator and there's this other couple with a kid, and then there's this other couple come in, and then the hand comes in and it's him. And it's like, okay, we can't just start fighting in front of civilians, right? We have to keep up a pretense. Like it reminded me of the tension of that a little bit, and I kind of liked it. And I think it did this neat thing where I think we were kind of anti-Eric for a little bit because of what's been happening over a few episodes. But here we get the sense that they're saying they're going to be nice to her. They're saying that she's going to be treated well and that they're going to take care of her. But he's obviously already found this laptop after he's killed the guards that were watching him.
Yeah.
That there was a resurgence of the Utrax program, and it clearly shows there was a bunch of other teen girls who are all being trained like Hanna. Which got exciting because I'm like, Hannah's got like actual people to fight now who are on her level. Like when the day comes. And that's interesting.
It's gonna be fun. So, what was your problem with the timeline?
It's Eric getting there. Like we see him go to an airport. He's got like a passport, and he goes into an airport. And then the next time we see him, he's going into that elevator, and I don't even know what city they're in, but
to
England
be fair,
somewhere.
We see Hannah's asleep, and then they go for breakfast. So there's at least it's overnight, and also all of the other men show up that next day. Around the same time as Eric.
Oh, that's true. I'll be honest, I never got the impression it was overnight, actually. I guess that's what my problem is here.
I did because of the breakfast scene. Because it made a point of telling us it was breakfast they were going to
You're right,
eat.
No, it was breakfast. She was getting cereal out of the container. Wrongly, might I add.
Yes, which is why I assumed overnight.
You're right, you're right. That might be my problem here. Because I know the other guys get there, but I assumed like they knew first, and then they've got private jets. They can...
Sure,
they
had a head start. Yeah.
Whereas Eric's going through an airport. Like he's got.
No, I get that. But I think there is Jamie. It's overnight. It's only from somewhere in Europe. I imagine that he's coming
France.
from.
I would say they were in last.
It's a couple of hours on a plane.
Yeah. It's not a long flight. That's fair. I guess it just never clicked to me it was overnight, so I just thought, that's a bit miraculous.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I thought it'd been a few hours. Like, she got Hanna back to the hotel, she napped for maybe a couple hours, and they went down for like dinner. But you're right. I think it was breakfast night. Now you've pointed out a couple of things. And then from there we get a lot of great scenes of them like running around the hotel, hiding in conference rooms,
setting off the fire alarm.
A little bit of action on the way out, and they actually steal a helicopter to get away when they get out.
Hanna shoots some dudes.
Yeah. She takes some dudes out.
Yeah.
And it's interesting hearing more about this stuff. And there's a little scene at the end, a little tag of these other like project girls. I don't even know what else to call them. Training. Very brutally, might I add. And it's kind of this thing where I think ultimately we're going to see Hannah's better because of how she was trained and how it was more personal. How she was alone with someone training her whole life. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting because. Does she turn any of them, or are they all just conditioned because they've all been raised within the system?
It's been a long time, presumably their entire lives.
Yeah. Do we do that? Do we... Because there's a couple of moments in this episode where Hannah's saying, you said you'd protect me. You said you would, you'll look after me. And she says yes, and Hanna doesn't believe her bullshit. And, there's a couple of points where Marissa has this look on her face, like where she knows she's lying to her, and she feels kind of guilty about it.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder.
Genuine, at the end where she doesn't shoot at Hanna when she's on the helicopter, she takes the picture on a phone.
In fact, before Eric got the laptop, and she was already having these looks of like guilt on her face.
You thought she was going to back out.
I didn't think she was going to back out. I thought the reason why she felt guilty was that. Actually, this is a very specific moment in the episode. It's when Eric gets the laptop, but before he actually clicks in the folder, you see it say Utrecht's like resurgence or whatever the word was, right? That it's coming back. And I thought for a split second before he clicked on it and seen there was already other like subjects, I thought it was going to be that they wanted Hanna to basically just take her DNA and like just siphon her off, right? And that's why she felt guilty, because it was basically going to be this slow, painful death of just taking her DNA.
But it's not. They're just going to add it to the system.
They're going to add to the system, try and brainwash her, try and condition her.
I would assume so. They don't want to waste her.
Yeah. And if she doesn't play ball, then probably eventually just kill her.
Yeah, I imagine so. But I think they'd try pretty hard first.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, waste of resource otherwise.
Yeah. But I thought this episode was really well paced, and it did a good job of, because I was shocked. I thought it was going to end at one point, and not because I felt like it had been on for the full length, just because
it felt like an ending point.
So much had happened that I thought her leaving in the car with Marissa from the house was the end of the episode.
I did too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
it was a good 15 minutes after that.
15-20 minutes, yeah, and all the stuff after that's really good. It's not like
it is. It's it just felt like, okay, no, there's been a lot of drama. This felt like a neat point to end on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kept going.
Yeah, and I think ultimately the family's going to be in trouble. I think she's going to go to the family because Hanna cares about them. They're going to use them as bait.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and Hannah's...
I do think this was a better episode than the last couple.
I do as well. I think it was. I think the season as a whole has been very well paced. It's always changing things up. It's never just letting a status quo sit for too long, which is really surprising and nice.
Yeah,
and I think what I like about the potential of this, of them using Sophie's family to get to them, is the idea that she'll want to save them, but Eric's going to say, no, it's too dangerous, they're not worth it. And that'll lead to a debate between them. It'll lead to a moral debate. And it'll either be where she truly has to decide to leave him for good because he's just not the good person that she needs him to be, or it's going to be him kind of regaining some humanity because he's willing to actually risk it and save them.
Yeah, there is that moment where she kind of comes back onto his side, where she goes back to Marissa. It's like she calls him father. Yeah. After she'd made a point of calling him Eric earlier in the episode.
Mm.
And it's that was a nice moment where you knew, okay, that she's back on side. Played well.
Yeah, no, it did. No, I like that. And then Sophie's family, I thought. Again, I think what's saving a lot of the stuff that could be tedious with them, when Sophie comes in, she starts shouting at them and being brutally honest in front of Marissa, like it's very awkward, like family fighting, and it feels very kind of real and uncomfortable because it's like I think it is mostly down to the acting, maybe the writing as well, because the dialogue doesn't feel fake, but
it feels like it comes across really naturally.
Yeah, and then because and likewise later on when they come back up to see her and they're saying, "Hey, you did the right thing," like giving Marissa your phone. Well, they didn't say Marissa obviously, but and they came in and you get the thing that she blames herself for her parents' troubles, and the dad kind of said something to that effect last episode that was kind of mean, and he comes in and says, "Hey, no matter how much we fight, we don't hate you, and believe me, we've tried," and he cracks a little joke. And it's actually genuinely quite funny. It feels like a family making up after they've had a big fight.
Yeah, it does.
So, no, I appreciate how natural that felt. I thought that was well done.
No, so it's a good episode.
Yeah. Action was good. Character beats were on point. And, and then, I guess the one other thing we've not really mentioned is just early on when she's in the forest, she has this little run because she hears a deer.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, more on her kind of like awareness when she's talking about Anton. It says, "Oh, as soon as you looked at me, I knew you wanted me. I could smell it."
Yeah,
and I'm like, smell it.
Yeah,
useful.
I like that. The so-called in itself, he doesn't even question that.
Yeah,
like maybe she just thinks it's a figure of speech, but I don't know. She just doesn't even bat an eyelid.
Well, because before that, when she's fighting with her, she Hanna tries to say like, "Hey, I'm different, I'm weird, my body doesn't work the way yours does, I don't necessarily control it in the same way," and I think Sophie takes that as just, oh, this is just an excuse for like justifying that you let yourself give in to the passion, right? But I think that was Hanna trying to explain, no, I physically am different. There's things that I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
And And it's maybe a sign that on some level, yeah, there is some sort of animal passion element, because she is kind of animal-like in some ways, the way she kind of smells and tracks and moves, and I wonder if there's like an element of like just the raw passion kind of is part of that almost.
Maybe I was more thinking it's just she could literally like smell it on the sweat, like pheromones sort of thing.
Oh sure, no, I'm not disputing that part. I'm just
no, but the with all the animalistic stuff you're talking about, I always took that more as just the way she was raised in the wild, just kind of on their own.
I was just thinking. I'm just sort of outside of just she likes them and wanted to do it. I was just trying to think of like other reasons why.
I'm with you.
She gave in, because she's kissed like one guy before this. She's barely interacted with men.
I think it's more just she doesn't have any concept of what's right and wrong. She has no societal baseline, right? So it's I want this. Okay, cool.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah. No, you're probably right. It's probably just that. I was just wondering if maybe it fed into the other stuff. Right. But no, it's interesting. And then just one little tidbit on Marissa. I don't even know if we mentioned her fighting with her boyfriend last episode, but he calls her in this to say, "Hey, someone was looking for you," before she calls in the other guys, before she calls in Sawyer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just still kind of awkward, and it's one of those things where I don't really care about him. He's kind of dull as a character, as is Sawyer. Sawyer's like Sawyer didn't bother me this episode though, because he was always mixed up with other people. He was never just on his own doing things this episode.
Yeah. But I know I agree with Marissa's family. I'm just I get the purpose is to try and humanize her a bit, right, and show us that no, she's got a family and that she cares about. I just don't give a shit about them. Yeah,
that's just kind of a plot device. They're her MacGuffin essentially. Or personal MacGuffin, which is fine. Like I think I've gotten to the point now where like I care about Hanna the most, obviously, but Marissa, and then to an extent Sophie's family, who I think because they're acting, the natural qualities of their fighting and their relationship makes them kind of compelling in a way. So there's like 3 solid quadrants that I care about in the show. Hanna being the main one, obviously. So Sawyer being kind of dull and Marissa's like boyfriend being kind of dull is. It's not a big deal as long as we don't spend too much time with them. It's not. Yeah, it's not a big deal. But yeah, and just one final little point: like the guard who gets taken over by Eric when he goes in to shoot him after they found Hanna. I'm like, just shoot him from across the room, dude. Like you walked up to do it point blank, and that's why he was able to fight you and take the gun away from you. I'm just.
Yeah, maybe he didn't trust himself to be a good enough shot.
It's like 5 feet.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's not got the cool execution look to it, is it? Of the gun against the head.
I've never fired a gun in my life. I'm pretty sure I could have made the shot from where he was standing. I don't think that's an absurd thing to say.
I'd love to see you try.
If you're the target, I'll do it.
I'll stake my life on it.
You can wear a vest. I'll happily do that scene from Kick-Ass where you're just wearing a bulletproof vest, and I'll just right. Let's test this caliber. Let's see if this one gets through. Yeah, but that scene from Supergirl recently with the hammer, not the face.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you with this and let's see what happens. All right, that was Hanna, episode 6. We got 2 left. We'll see how the show wraps up. And given that Hanna and her father are kind of on the good sides of each other again to an extent, now I'm like, okay, so then they're going to end in a bad place. Possibly with his death.
Yeah, I think his death's relatively likely. I'm not sure necessarily it has to be a bad place now, though. I think that I or at least I hope not. That would feel repetitive.
Let me rephrase that. If he dies, I'm considering that to be the bad thing, not where they are. Like, if they die, they're going to be in a good place, so it's upsetting to her.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Or it'll be in a bad place and he's still alive.
Yeah, I'd see. I don't want him to go into a bad place again because that would feel repetitive to me. And
sure.
Yeah, we just did that.
That's a fair point. All right, that is Hanna episode 6. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. We can support us for as little as $1 per month, and you can get bonuses, exclusive stuff early, that kind of thing. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?